What's up, everybody? Demon back, and welcome to the newest episode of the Shin Gojira news and updates. Yes, it's been quite a while since we've done one of these actual news updates video. I know we did the spoiler talk not that long ago, but that one didn't really count. That was more of a discussion than news updates. These ones are the actual news, so let's talk about it. So, we got our actor for Godzilla in the movie. His name is Mansai Noruma, and he did motion capture for Shin Gojira in the movie. I think that's really cool. I really do appreciate the fact that when their puppet failed, they didn't say, screw it, we'll go full CG. They kept it the same in a sort of fashion. They didn't just abandon ship. They didn't just forget about where they came from and do full CG like 2014 did. Instead, they did motion capture, which is a good blend between suits and CG. I really like that, and I think that's the way to go from now on for Godzilla movies. I know the 2019 and 2020 movies will stick with full CG more than likely, but even though I know Andy Serkis did some of the close-up facial shots of Godzilla for 2014, but that doesn't really count. But I do think Toho, from now on, should stick with motion capture because it keeps the same feel. It's still similar to where they came from. And at the same time, it's just a newer, updated version of it, and I really do think that's the way to go. Also, I like the fact that they have somewhat of a Godzilla suit made here for the actor. They have the dorsal fins on the back, they have a stub tail, although the tail branches out, and there's actually a weight that he's dragging around behind him, because that just makes him feel like he's not just, that would give Godzilla weight, because he's dragging around a weight. Also, when you look at his face, they got a little Godzilla mask on him, which is really cool. I think they're making lots of right decisions in terms of how Godzilla was done in the movie. Now, our second bit of news is something you guys have all been linking me, and that is that there's a possible Godzilla anime on the way. This news comes from sci-fi.com, who, although they're not one of the more trustworthy sites, I've seen this in multiple different places, not just them. That's just the article where I pulled the info from. So what has been revealed is that Toho actually bought the domain name GodzillaAnime.com. What that means is still unknown at the time, but people are speculating that a Godzilla anime is on the way. Personally, I think that the first thing that will go up on here is the Shin Gojira Shin-chan versus episode. I think that will be probably the base point for them to jump off of. I'm sure, based on how well Shin Gojira is doing, that they'll get an Evangelion crossover, which would be cool. I feel like they could do that. They might not, just because they don't want to make fans from one fandom or another get mad at each other, but based off the success of Shin Gojira, they might do that. So, I don't know if Godzilla will have a full anime, but it's not unheard of. We had the American Godzilla cartoon from Hanna-Barbera, we had Zilla's cartoon, we had quite a bit of stuff. And Toho, or Japan, they put out some like weird learning animation show or whatever, but that doesn't really count. But yeah, there's been Godzilla cartoons in the past, so I would not be surprised if we got a Godzilla anime, once again, just based off how well Shin Gojira is doing. Now our next bit of news comes from the fact that Universal Studios Japan announced a Godzilla attraction. I find that very weird, very kind of suspicious almost. But from what I can tell, this turns out to be true. This is a real thing. The only thing that makes me kind of off-put to this is that we all know Godzilla is not owned by Universal. So why he's at Universal Studios Japan makes no sense to me. But what the ride is it's actually a 4D, it's a 4D quote-unquote experience for Shin Gojira. Pretty cool stuff there. Godzilla, I don't know what it'll be. I know Shin Gojira, the movie's an actual 4D movie in Japan, but I don't know if the ride will be anything like that, or the attraction is what they call it. I don't know if that will be anything like it. Now, let's talk about some kind of outdated news, but it's still as relevant. We have been talking about already, I've been alluding to the fact, or alluding by saying it straight out. Godzilla's Shin Gojira is doing amazingly well in Japan. So it opened in Japan at #1 with 2 days takeover, 62.5 million yen, roughly 6.1 million US dollars. That's pretty crazy considering it's a Godzilla movie. It's higher. It's a higher amount than Godzilla 2014 got in Japan, which was 4.9 million US dollars. So it is doing very, very well. It is also the biggest, like the most well-grossing Godzilla movie, I think, to date, which is pretty crazy. And I know this movie really does hit home with a lot of Japanese viewers because, unfortunately, they do make lots of allusions, and it's a very big allegory on a tsunami that hit Japan a few years back, and there was a lot of stuff that went down, and this movie is supposedly a really good allegory to that, which is very similar to the way that 1954 was a really good allegory to the fire raids that we did to Japan and Tokyo, to the nuclear bomb and all that stuff. Now, Shin Gojira is also #1 the second week in a row. Yes, it is the #1 movie for 2 straight weeks. It has grossed more money than the Heisei series, than any entry in the Heisei series. It has grossed more money than 2014, more than the Millennium series. It's just doing amazing, which is really, really cool. Everyone's calling it a masterpiece, and they have gotten me back on track. Really, the spoilers for this movie, when I heard the actual in-depth spoiler details of what's going on in this movie, that turned me around from being like, I was pretty much against the movie for like a good day or two, and it really did turn me around, bring me back on track once I found out really what's all going on in the movie. It sounds like it'll be a really cool, really fun time. I shouldn't even say the word fun, because honestly it sounds like it's going to be kind of a dark, sad movie, but whatever, it's Godzilla's in it, it's going to be fun. So, that almost does it for the news updates. That is all our Shin Gojira news. Now it is time to talk about just something really quick, something pretty kind of different from what we've talked about. I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that on Labor Day, September 5th, the Comet Network will actually be doing a Godzilla movie marathon, which is super cool. El Rey just did one recently on Memorial Day weekend. El Rey Network did a Godzilla marathon. I tuned in for that when I watched all the movies they had on there. I know I own them, but I don't know. I find it fun to watch a movie on TV because I don't know, they don't play them a lot. It's kind of special, but whatever. So, yes, the Comet Network, for those of you guys who don't own a lot of the Godzilla movies, they're going to be playing a Godzilla movie marathon. The ones that they include in their little promo is the 54 movie. They're going to be showing Rodan, the 56 movie, aka King of the Monsters, Raids Again, Godzilla's Revenge. I'm sure there will be a ton of other movies that they show in there, but for now, that is all that I know for sure that they will be playing. So, just a little bit of fun news there. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of the Shin Gojira news and updates, even though we talked about Godzilla at the end there. But, yes, in conclusion, Shin Gojira, or Godzilla in general, might get an anime. There's going to be a Godzilla marathon on the Comet channel, Labor Day, September 5th. There's going to be a Godzilla Universal ride. Shin Gojira is doing amazing in Japan, and it has been the #1 movie 2 weeks in a row. We've also gotten the news of who is actually playing Godzilla. Once again, I'm sorry guys, it did take me quite a while to get this news update out. I've been working on it for a little bit, just gathering info, because I didn't want to release a short little, hey, he's doing good in Japan video, because that was not, I didn't think important enough to warrant its own video, but all this stuff together is. So thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. D-Man out.